Coming at you this week, a story of a boy and his dragon. That's right, a movie you may have seen before because it wasn't that long ago when the original came out. Now they're live-action remaking it. No, it's not Lilo and Stitch again. It's How to Train Your Dragon, the 2025 version. That's what today's episode of the Box Office Buds is all about. My name is Tony Cavallo. I'm next to Alex Alche and Alexander Kellerman. The three of us together are in a fantasy box office league where each of us draft 5 movies coming out this calendar year, and whoever makes the most money wins the league. And I am so elated because How to Train Your Dragon is my movie, followed up, tag-teamed with Lilo and Stitch, that is tearing through movie theaters still to this day, 3 straight weeks as the #1 movie. Hopefully How to Train Your Dragon takes it over. Boys, how happy are you to be talking about a Tony Cavallo movie once again?
Nothing brings me more joy than talking to you about your movies for the next 3 weeks.
You're certainly one of the more obnoxious people when it comes to their own movies.
On the planet?
League.
On the planet? In the planet? On the planet.
But, you know, what do you have after How to Train Your Dragon? Anything else? Or are you done?
Absolutely nothing, because most of my movies have been canceled or pushed to 2026, and I still have to decide who's going back on my team. These 2 movies I need desperately to succeed in order to even have a chance in this fantasy box office league. I need $1 billion out of both of them. Lilo and Stitch looks to be on the road to touching $1 billion. How to Train Your Dragon is the question. Can it do the same as Lilo and Stitch? Being a franchise that arguably is not as popular as Lilo and Stitch, even though both of them, Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon, are created by the same man. And the man who created both of them was in charge of making this remake. He directed it, he wrote it, this is all his baby. He is the man of the dragon. And I am excited to see this take shape. I loved all the trailers I've seen of it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if it's going to be a huge box office success, because I will tell you, when we had our draft, when I came away from it with my 5 movies, this was the movie I was the most excited to have on my team. I thought it was a slam dunk. Now that I've seen Lilo and Stitch and we're a little bit smarter a few months later after the draft, I don't know if it's going to do as well as I thought it was going to do. Well, what do you guys see, bird's eye view of this movie and how you think it's going to perform, taking the jealousy you have of me out of it?
Kellerman sent us a Instagram and a TikTok of this gentleman pointing out very astutely that, it's the same dragon. It's the same exact thing. It looks exactly the same. The CGI does not make it live action. It's just CGI. And it's the same exact CGI, just a little bit more detailed. This movie, more importantly, is not a 0 to 100 movie. This is a little more mature than a Lilo and Stitch. A little more mature than an Elio, which is coming out too. I actually think the live action piece makes it even more mature than the animated version. So I think this is basically like Game of Thrones for kids. So we're looking at like 10 years old and up who it's really made for, and I just think that's going to stilt your box office draw.
I agree. I'm a little torn. I think that this one's a big question mark. Obviously, I think that live action remakes of successful animated films, obviously there's a market for that. But this one, you know, unlike Lilo and Stitch was 2D animated, and then it was a live action film with a 3D character. This was a 3D animated film. And now really all they're replacing are the backgrounds and the few human characters. And everything else will still just look exactly the way it did in the previous version. That said, the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, though you said it was not quite as big as Lilo and Stitch, still a very successful franchise.
Yes.
But, you know, Cheese is right. It's not for little kids like Lilo and Stitch is. It's for the older kids. I don't think it appeals to adults as much as as much as an actual kids film would, because it's sort of right in between. And for that reason, you know, it could be maybe as successful as one of the other How to Train Your Dragons movies, but I don't think it will be more successful than any of the previous ones.
really dampening my sales here. The past three How to Train Your Dragon movies, the first one came out 43 million domestic, ended up with 494 worldwide. The third one had the biggest domestic opening weekend, 55 domestically, 55 million that opening weekend. The second one made the most money, 621 million worldwide. Let's start right there. 621 million worldwide being the bar. Does the live action remake of the first movie hit that bar?
Did you say you're hoping
worldwide.
this cracks $1 billion?
I mean, that's what I had coming out of the draft. That's what I thought was a possibility coming out of the draft. Now it's a little bit less than that, now that I'm a little bit more in tune of what this movie could possibly do. But let's put it right there. 621's the bar. Does this movie, live action remake, at the end of the day, hit that number?
What does
Hell no.
Elio come out the same
Hell
weekend?
no.
Elio comes out
the
next
20th.
weekend.
What is coming out against How to Train Your Dragon? Anything?
Oh, we'll talk about that in tomorrow's episode. The Materialist, starring Dakota Fanning, Pedro Pascal, and Chris Evans.
So there is something for the adults.
Sure, you could say that.
I mean, I'm seeing The Materialist, but like, it's not going to draw people away from How to Train Your Dragon. Look, this movie's not making a lot of money. This movie is lucky if it cracks 350. Would be my guess.
I think it has a
this
strong chance of breaking 350 million, but I don't think it has a strong chance of well exceeding 350 million.
Get out of here.
I'm putting this at 347.
Okay. Kellerman, where are you placing this?
I don't know. Lilo and Stitch is still out in theaters, right?
Number one in the world,
Exactly.
3 weeks in a row.
Man, Mission Impossible's still out there.
Mission
Ballerina's
Impossible,
still
actually,
out there.
I forgot to mention this on yesterday's episode, which you can listen to right now, talking about our friendship review, talking about Mia Goth, talking about Ballerina, spoiler-free review from Ballerina from Mr. Kellerman. Forgot to mention that Mission Impossible has passed a big bar. It has surpassed the sort of Captain America Brave New World bar. Over that money, over Sinners, over all of those movies that are right on the cusp of being good money makers for this league, Mission Impossible has traversed over that. It's a big hill to climb. It is also still in theaters. Kellerman, again, how much money does How to Train Your Dragon remake get at the end of the day?
I put it at 300 million. 290, 300.
Even less than what Alche said?
Yeah. I think it's gonna have a really hard time. There's a lot in the theater. Lilo and Stitch is still there.
Okay.
I mean,
Baby,
I think that it will be successful. I think that it will make its money back. Do we know what the budget was? I assume it's under 300 million.
I'd hope so. But listen, I'm already winning a bet about Karate Kid Legends. I'm winning a bunch of bets on this show. Let me double down again. I will take both of you on. The How to Train Your Dragon live action remake makes over 350 million, hands down. You can put whatever you want on the line for this one.
I will put I mean, I'll take a double bourbon on the rocks.
Great.
Let's go.
And I'm not willing to take that bet at all because I think it has a chance of making maybe closer to 400 or 500 million. But I think this
is an easy
for your
bet
league,
to crest
you're
500
going to need
million.
it to do a lot better than that.
Correct. Yeah.
Tony,
I think this is an what?
Go ahead.
No, I think this is an easy crest over 500 million. And I'm hoping it does Lilo and Stitch numbers to give me a chance in this league. But I think this crest 500 million, no problem, even with all the competition. I just think it's hitting a market that isn't being hit right now. Elio and this are not contending with each other. Lilo and Stitch and this are not contending with each other. I do think it's going to have a successful shelf life, even with all these movies coming out.
I got a little X factor that is going to work very much against you. Where are the majority of the 8 to 15-year-olds in America going to be in the next 2 weeks?
I don't know, summer school?
Summer camp. They are not going to be going to the movies as often as you think.
They're still out of school and going to go to the movies.
Listen, this is a different growing up. Okay, when I was growing up in Boston, all the kids that went to Catholic school did not go to summer camp in the summertime. They did.
I'm not talking about sleepaway camp. I'm talking about going to a day camp. I'm talking about going to the local Y. I'm talking about they're going to be busy all day in water.
I literally went to summer camp in Massachusetts for years.
Yeah, I know you did. I fully understand that. The Catholic school kids went to the beach in summertime and went to the movies in summertime. There was no sleepaway camps for us when we were growing up. Anyway, I think it's going to do well. But
how many dragon movies did you go see when you were that age?
Not many. Not many dragon movies. There weren't many dragon fare out there. There were, however, a lot of pet movies, and that is what is at the heart of this story and why I think it will be successful because of the story it tells. First off, I think the cast looks like a lot of fun. The lead guy, he was also in The Black Phone, which I know is one of Kellerman's favorites when it comes to horror movies because it starred one of his favorite guys as the lead villain in that movie. He looks great. He looks just like the animated version of this character. Gerard Butler is coming back to play the character that he voiced in the animation. There was some controversy over people who like to have controversies over this type of thing. They cast the character of Astrid, the lead heroic female figure in this, with an actress named Nico Parker. She was the lead in Dumbo. She was Joel's daughter in the first episode of Last of Us, and she very much does not look like the animated version of this character. And again, those controversies like to happen, and sometimes those controversies can tank a movie like Snow White we saw, though there were many more controversies than just one. Do you think the casting of this character and sort of changing the role around a little bit is going to affect people going to see this movie, or is it not enough for the Reddit posters to really affect this one?
I don't think it has much of an effect here, especially since it's not the main character. But also, I think that the only reason that controversy even exists is because every single other person and creature I've seen in the trailer is identical to the original film's counterpart. So if someone is changed, if one person is changed, then it sticks out kind of like a sore thumb. That said, obviously, what are we doing here? What difference does it make who plays the character? Are they good or are they bad?
Difference.
That's all that matters.
Thank you.
I haven't
even, answer.
I haven't even heard of that. And if I haven't heard of that, then like the kids going to see
Cheese
this
is
movie,
really in
certainly
tune
haven't.
with movie controversies.
I'm a big controversy guy.
If he hasn't heard about it, it ain't nothing.
That makes me feel better.
I have
Again,
a Google
you guys are
alert
under
for controversies.
You guys still only think it's going to make $350 million. I didn't know if you were on the controversy train as well. But let's now talk about the greater.
I want 350 million when the biggest one was 621. Like, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah,
this movie,
Captain America and Thunderbolts both made 380. You think this is going to be bigger than any Marvel movie this year?
100%. This is making more than Thunderbolts money, Kellerman. How dare you put that in the same vein as Thunderbolts money? This movie is making money.
You think so?
And I do. I do think so. And I need it to because it's the only hope I have in winning this league. The reason why I think it's making money is because the overall vibe of it's about a boy and his pet. And those movies hit over and over and over again. And I do want to talk about if this movie has a chance to crest the top 3 pet movies of all time. I want to know, there's a lot of them out there, especially when we were growing up. It was sort of right in our wheelhouse. These top 3 pet movies.
No, I don't put the original.
Hell no.
I wouldn't put the original in the top 3, and so I don't think this goes in the top 3 either.
So what are your top 3 pet movies?
Kellerman.
Well,
what do you like?
Coming off of Ballerina, I feel like John Wick should be on the list here. It's a whole movie dedicated to avenging his pet. And at the end, he gets a new pet.
I'd rather put Keanu on than John Wick, but I'm not doing that either.
Keanu would be a good honorable mention.
I hear you on the John Wick side. I hear you on the Keanu side. To me, I think we have to be really specific with this top 3 pet movie list. I think the pet needs to be an integral part of the movie, not just the basis for the start of said movie. There's no dog in John Wick after the dog is gone.
Until the ending, it's bookmarked, or it's bookended with dogs.
If it's not a pet
movie. The whole
movie.
Premise is about his dog, and then
that.
in the end, he gets a new dog.
it's not a pet movie. Whereas Air Bud is a pet movie. And I think Air Bud deserves to be on the top 3 pet movie list.
Gosh,
especially
Air Bud
since
is a good
the ending.
pick.
The pet is deciding, do I go with the clown owner or do I go with the boy owner? And it's the pivotal moment of the film that I still think about to this day. I think Air Bud.
I gotta say,
R.I.P. Michael Jeter. R.I.P. Michael Jeter.
I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of Air Bud, but there are like 11 Air Bud movies, and so I think it has probably earned its place in this list.
Yeah,
I
it's in
would
the
agree that it
pantheon.
goes in the top 3 just because of the franchise it spawned.
I agree. The OG is fantastic. I'll put it there. I'm going to throw out Homeward Bound.
Thank you.
That
was my next
dog
one.
is the reason that kid stays alive. When they cook the rabbit, that is a really special scene to me. Let me tell you, that looked really good. He makes this like barbecue sauce out of something somehow. I have no idea how,
Yeah.
but it looks fantastic. That dog,
Animal
I wish I had. Yeah, excellent dog.
animal torture in that movie aside, I do think it belongs on the list of greatest pet movies ever made.
I agree.
It also just it is such a quintessential pet movie.
Yeah.
You can't
And
you can't go your whole life without seeing it.
The end of that movie, when they're coming over the hill and the old golden retriever doesn't make it over that hill, and the older boy, looks off into the distance with that 10,000-yard stare and realizes that his dog was just too old. He's not coming home, and he is okay with the idea of death for the first time. And then you hear that voice coming over that hill. Makes me cry every single time. Homeward Bound is a
Beautiful
perfect
stuff.
pet movie. I'm so happy it's
Yeah.
on this list.
Very
Kellerman,
touching.
we need one from you. I got Air Bud and Homeward Bound. I have a bunch more listed, so we might have to argue about the third one. I'm happy with the first 2 though.
I have a few more, and we haven't touched on them yet. So, gosh, I just know you guys are going to disagree with this, but Scooby-Doo?
Ooh.
It's
It's not a
Scooby-Doo.
good movie though.
Here's the thing. Yeah, the movies are not good. The show is fantastic.
You're absolutely right. Scooby-Doo deserves to be in the conversation. The movie stinks though. Like I
The
get
first
it.
film is like a perfect
Yeah.
representation of
I mean,
the
I
cartoon.
loved the original when I was a kid, but the movie, I
Yeah.
don't know if you watched it recently, it's pretty horrendous.
I have watched it recently. Scrappy-Doo
I
being
don't
the
know.
bad guy's still a great twist. It's got everything you want from a Scooby-Doo movie. The casting is fantastic.
It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I mean,
Scooby
I
All right,
hear
the
you.
character?
fine. Okay, how
Yeah.
about another one? And I'm sorry for all of these adult pet movies. I know that this is probably going to be mostly comprised of family films, but what about Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
I have that listed. I have that listed just for you. The Birth of
think it's
Caesar from James Franco. I
Such a
think
great pet movie. Come on.
it's got
Pet
good vibes
movie?
to it.
Who's
it was
the
on
pet?
my
Yeah,
honorable mentions.
Caesar is James Franco's pet the entire time. He
I
takes
know.
it
I
from
watched
the
the
facility. He
movie.
rescues it
And then
from
it
the
turns.
facility.
And then Caesar becomes the owner and Franco becomes the pet. Like it's
Exactly.
I'm with you. It was on my honorable
If we have
mention list.
Rise of
Didn't
the
make my
Planet of
top
the
3.
Apes, if we have Rise of the Planet of the Apes on this list, then we're looking at another friendship comment section. Absolutely not.
Alche, let's
so
get
they
some
have
more
to
out
be
of
family
you.
films?
No.
I think
No,
the best
Alche,
ones
let's
are
get
the
some more
family
out of
films.
you.
I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Secret Life of Pets, but it's pretty fantastic.
I did see it, and I strike it from the list.
I once met one of the producers of that film in an elevator, and I too will strike it from the list based on that interaction alone. Some movies that didn't make the cut. For top 3 pet movies for me, Beethoven. Gotta love Beethoven.
I was just about to throw it in there since we're talking about Homeward Bound and like some of the older, more classic pet movies. Beethoven is, as much as I hate it, and trust me, I hate the Beethoven movie.
I don't like
What's that
Beethoven
actor's
either.
name? What's the guy?
Charles Grodin?
Charles
Grodin.
Yeah.
The man made a career off of the type of character I loathe. He is always the bad guy in his movies while being presented as the good guy. Every time.
Yeah, Beethoven. Beethoven was 4th for me if we were doing top 4. Turner and Hooch. Anybody? Gotta love Tom Hanks in there.
Ooh.
I love Tom Hanks, but I
Ooh.
wouldn't put it on this list.
101
Free Willy?
Dalmatians, if we want to go animated movies. Lady and the Tramp, also, if we want to go animated movies.
Also
I
good.
also, Alche, had Free Willy on here
Free
as one of my
Willy.
picks.
Free Willy.
Is it a
Free
pet
Willy
movie,
won.
though?
Yeah, he's his pet.
I don't know.
What about Andre?
No.
Thank you for
It's
for
Free
chiming in,
Willy with
Kelman.
a seal.
It's also the reason why I didn't have Balto on my list, because Balto is not a
Oh, I
pet
love
in that
Balto.
movie.
God,
He's
I
not
love
a
It's a
pet,
great
but
film,
no.
but you're right, not a pet.
So my final film that I have in my top 3 is All Dogs Go to Heaven, because that is all
on my
about
list. I'll
finding
accept it because it was also on my list.
finding
It's
the family
fine.
and in
I
the end
still
becoming
think-
the pet and getting the kid adopted and all that stuff. I think it fits the whole familial atmosphere of All Dogs Go to Heaven. But if you want to argue for Free Willy, I'll hear it.
I mean, Free Willy is a really special film. I watched that movie maybe every day for like a year. I was obsessed with Free Willy, and he's 100% a pet. He saves him from from death. That's a pet. That constitutes a pet.
Yeah, Free Willy, I feel like, gosh, it's certainly not even close to my favorite of all the films we've talked about, but it's
Hold on,
it
hold on,
definitely,
hold on,
like,
hold on, hold
belongs
on, hold on,
in the
hold on.
zeitgeist. It's its own, like, Free Willy is like an expression now.
Yeah, come on. What about Ace Ventura: Pet Detective?
2.
That's not
No.
a pet movie.
1.
Exactly. The first one is not a pet movie.
The first one is a pet
second
movie. He's
one-
saving Snowflake. The first one,
Snowflake's not a pet.
the whole point is to save Snowflake.
Snowflake is not a pet. Snowflake is not a pet.
What does he
Just
do?
an animal.
What does he do? What does he do the whole first part of the movie? His job is to save pets.
He is a pet detective, but it is not a pet movie. It is a detective movie.
All right, my final vote. I'm going to throw out 2 more, but my final vote is definitely Free Willy. Best in Show: White Fang.
Oh, time out.
White
Best
Fang's
in
a good
show.
one. Not
No,
best in
I'm
show.
all for Best in Show.
No,
Oh, that's
no.
such a good movie. And it's all
No
about
Christopher
pets
Guest
and-
movies will ever make any of our lists as long as I'm on the podcast.
You're not a Christopher Guest guy?
Fuck no. And I apologize for using that strong language.
Oh my God, Kelvin, that might be our
strongly-
biggest argument yet. First off, time out.
dislike Christopher Guest
let
films.
me call a 20-second timeout here real quick. Best in Show, great pitch from Alche, great idea, because it is not only a pet movie, it perfectly encapsulates the monstrosities that some pet owners becomes and those relationships with pets and how it formulates their own lives. Alche, throw out Free Willy, throw out All Dogs Go to Heaven. I'm hammering Best in Show to be on the top 3 of this list. I can't believe I didn't think of it myself. Excellent pick. I think
No,
that should
I'm
be
vetoing
number
it. I'm
1.
sorry, Tony. I have to veto this one.
You're going to
Sorry,
be
2-1.
outvoted.
You lose.
You're going to be
outvoted.
outvoted. Best in
You
Show
can't
is a
outvote
perfect
a
pet
veto.
movie.
I'm not voting against
You don't
it. I'm
get
vetoing
who
it.
gave you veto power? Who gave you veto
We're one
power?
of 3. We all have veto
All right,
power.
Danny. All right, Danny DeVito, calm down.
All right, well, how about this? We do have producer Jones on the show for listening on right now. TJ, if you had to choose, the first 2 are Air Bud and Homeward Bound. If you had to choose our third pet movie, you have between All Dogs Go to Heaven, Free Willy, and Best in Show. What's our third movie?
Best in Show.
Oh my God! You're just doing that to piss me off, aren't you? It's ridiculous.
Woo!
Over
It's
Free
your turn to
Willy
quit the
and All
podcast.
Dogs Go to Heaven. Over Free Willy and All Dogs Go to Heaven. Have you lost your collective minds?
It's
I'm a
your
dog
Maybe
guy.
turn.
I don't-
I'm gonna
I
quit
don't-
the
and-
Kellerman.
podcast this week. Maybe it's my turn to fucking quit. This is insane. Did you really just choose Best in Show over Free Willy and All Dogs Go to Heaven?
I think we need to make predictions on this movie. This podcast has gone off the rails.
Before Kellerman keeps on trying to leave using a mighty wind, let's get out of this segment and move on to the How to Train Your Dragon over-under prediction. We all went over for Ballerina and lost that pick. Alche technically didn't make a pick. TJ made it for him. TJ 0-1 to start his reign on the podcast.
I'm not gonna
Might
lie,
be
I
0-2.
probably-
Was
I
he on
would have gone-
Thunderbolts as well.
Yeah, I would have gone
so-
over though, so it's not his fault. It's not his fault.
So I'm leading the world with a 10-8 record on this show. Kellerman is down to 7-11, so if he quits this podcast, not a huge loss. Let's move on to How to Train Your Dragon. TJ has the number for us. How much money will this make domestically opening weekend? I got a feeling where I know Alche and Kellerman are going, and I'm probably going to go over. What's the number, Teach?
For the record, my pick last week was a celebrity pick for Cheese, so unfortunately I did get him a loss. I'm sorry, Cheese, but we all love Ana de Armas and wanted better for her. Regardless of that, the number for How to Train Your Dragon's domestic opening weekend is $77 million.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's giant. Now, TJ usually makes these numbers based off of the projections that are out there, so that perked my ears up a little bit because I have not looked up at these projections purposely for this show, and to hear 77 million be the number, even though we already heard Kellerman and Alche berate it so much, that makes me very excited because that means we're cresting 350 mil worldwide pretty easily if those are the projections for opening weekend. 77 million. That's too high of a number. I want this to go over. I think that's coming in under. I'm thinking if I get 60 to 70, I'm very, very happy with the domestic opening weekend. So I will go under 77.
I'm hammering the under. Hammered. The 2019 opened to 55 million. The How to Train Your Dragon 2 opened to 49.4. How to Train Your Dragon in 2010 opened to 43.7. If this beats 50, I'll be shocked. No, thank you, sir. I know it's saying we're looking at 65 to 75, so I understand your number. This is far too high. This is going to be. I'm going under. I am going under. This movie is not going to do as well as anybody thinks.
Tony, you went over?
No, thank you for listening, though. I went under.
Sorry, I was busy looking at Lilo and Stitch's opening weekend.
Yeah, that was a giant number.
It was a huge number, and if this takes that audience, it could sail past 77 million. And I really need to be different from you two if I'm ever going to pull ahead. I'm already way behind, so another loss wouldn't mean too much to me. So I'm going to go over, both to be different and, I guess... Shit, I really don't think it's going to make that much money. But
that just locked our unders for sure.
I'll never gain on you guys if I don't do anything different. So I'm just going to go over, and I'll pray that it drops off heavily after the first weekend so that Tony does not get his money.
And that is it for the over-under predictions for How to Train Your Dragon live action 2025 film. And that is it for today's episode of the Box Office Buds. But that is not it for our week of episodes in the Box Office Buds greater cinematic universe. No. Tomorrow we are talking about the direct competition coming out this weekend for How to Train Your Dragon. It is an interesting movie, romantic comedy that me and Alche might come to blows over. You won't want to miss it, and we'll see you tomorrow.